I wanted to add something
Okay.
about the food and the energy. Um, at least in the United States, we need to think about the long-term effects of what happened when this conflict escalated back in February, and every Western country said, "No, we don't want any more fertilizer from Russia and Belarus because
Yeah.
you guys are the bad guys." This winter, the big problems are going to be in Europe because they're not going to have energy.
Yeah,
Next
we have
winter,
a cushion. We have a cushion
next
right now.
winter, we will not have enough fertilizer or I'm sorry, by next winter, we will not have enough fertilizer to have grown enough crops to even not only export but begin to fill up our reserves. So next winter, we will begin consuming our reserves, and then by the end of next winter, we
Yeah.
will have no reserves.
And the thing is
However,
we have so many
US has the money,
Africa
has the assets to buy.
You can
US
buy it
can
if no
manage
one
to
if
buy
no one if no one makes it. It doesn't matter if you can buy it.
At
No,
what
it's not
price?
Russia's
about
already
that. It's about being the richest guy, because it's supply and demand, and the richest guy around is USA, right?
Yeah, but look at
We'll
the
pay
oil
more
cap.
than
That's
that.
not
We
going
will
to work.
take it.
When 2
African
billion
countries
people,
will not take the grains.
absolutely
That's
not.
it.
I fundamentally disagree because next winter, when 2 billion people enter a famine and 500 million people are at risk for starvation throughout Africa and Central Asia, and as well as South
That's a fact.
America, money does not matter. When 500 million people are at risk of dying, it does not matter.
If you
Okay,
have a look at the UN
they
food
will
projections
throw
for
some
Africa, we're looking
commercials.
at 500,000 people starving next year. And everyone knows that.
You know how
Doesn't
it
matter.
works. They in the West, they will just put some advertisements about with the UNICEF, etc., help some people. So we, the common people, will feel that our soul will be salvaged by donating a few dollars.
That's the
It
problem, right?
always
You're
works
right.
like that.
You're completely right. And I think you and I are looking at it a little bit differently. I'm kind of looking at it just as looking at it as the overall suffering of humanity is essentially bound to come. And you're trying to look at it how the West is going to kind of deal with it. I guess I agree as to how your analysis goes.
I think the West is not going to
American perspective. Let's take it as cold and as calculating as humanly possible.
Right.
The big three things:
that's
military,
I mean,
food,
I don't think
and
it's
energy.
so easy from the American
America
perspective.
is one of the biggest energy exporters in the world. They have shale and oil and gas for days. They are not going to have any problems with energy. They have one of the biggest continuous arable land in the world after the Russians and the Ukrainians. They are not going to have a problem with food either. They are food exporter. Jesus Christ, words are hard. And from a military perspective, this is going to be the easiest and cheapest opportunity the American taxpayer is ever gonna get to diminish the Russian military. They have the weapons, and in Europe as well, those weapons are produced for a war against Russia. Maybe it was produced as a war against the Soviets, but those weapons are there. And now you don't even have to pay the human component, because the human component is paid by the Ukrainians. This is the cheapest way to get a global, kind of global power, the Russians might still qualify, out of the picture without having to pay any of the human cost. Because you just have to hand over the weapons you already have. And all the other factors, you're just not going to care about.
That hamstring is yourself against China, though.
1 minute point in this. I think it's not economically as easy. It's true, the Americans have the resources. The Russians also have the resources. So it's really, but if you look at the economic side of things, why people say that Russia is a poor economy, it is. But the point is, it's because it's valued in US dollars. Now, if you look at what has happened, is India is now trading directly in Russian rubles. China is trading directly in Russian rubles. India was trading directly in Indian rupees with Iran a few years ago. And basically, these countries,
don't forget to peck the ruble and peck the yuan.
they're shifting away from the US dollar as the primary. The reason the US is able to do this is because they have the currency which is extremely strong, which buys everything because it's so powerful. Even now we see the US dollar really rising because of Federal Reserve's actions. But this is going to end as the stock markets really collapse, as the housing market really collapses. Then there's going to be actual literal problem in the voting public as well, because right now they don't care. But as soon as it actually starts hitting their bottom line, it starts hitting each person on the street.
As
Maybe
I
it will take
said,
1 to 2 years.
Sebastian is
It
assuming
will
that the
change
Americans are happy just to eat and survive. They're not. The American economy will have to export. People have to buy from Google, Facebook, all the others. They have to buy Americans. Otherwise, you're reducing the standard of living, Sebastian. It's not a question of whether you can eat and whether you can put petrol in your car. That's one thing. The majority of Americans, I'm not talking about the lowest class of Americans, the majority of Americans will still need to have that aspirational economic value. Otherwise, they're
but
going to rebel. And they
but to
rebel quite
have
simply.
this,
They just say, no, we're not going to have you.
to have this, you should have a strong dollar, a dollar that the world trusts. If the world do not trust dollar, the US people will, the Americans will not be able to live in the way how you described.
Absolutely.
Because as I said, it's a matter of prestige. As long as the US has the prestige to show its military capabilities and economic capabilities in order to help any country that they want, they will not have problem. But
Captain.
if the dollar stops to become this kind of currency, then it will be over.